How's everybody doing? Good. So, when Alyssa asked me to share at this camp, God just put it on my heart to share like the testimony of my life and what God has done, and just how my life used to be before I knew Him, and now how it is living with Him now. So, growing up, my parents were, we had like a fellowship. It was a lot of like the way believers, and we'd go to fellowship every Sunday. But it was like really religious and judgmental, and there was like a lot of fear motivating things. So I'm so thankful that my parents kind of like broke away from it, and my family did too. So yeah, but after we broke away, it was kind of like that was my idea of what God was, and I was just like really like hurt by everything and hurt by religion, and I didn't want a part of any of it really. So then during the fellowship and everything, I was homeschooled with 12 other kids. And so then after homeschool and after the ministry kind of broke apart, I went to high school, and just like going from homeschool to high school and being like super sheltered was like really crazy, like so much going on and like so much things I didn't know how to deal with. So in high school from like 15 to 21, I started like doing drugs. I was doing like Molly and Coke and smoking weed every day, and just like rebelling a lot and mad at everything and like fighting. And so then, let's see, so then after that, when I was 18, I graduated high school, and I started working at nightclubs, and I was doing like bottle service and bartending and everything, and just like living the nightlife. Like I would go out every weekend, and it was just a really like empty lifestyle. And I thought like I thought I only mattered like if people thought I looked good, and just like really lost. So let's see. And then like also it was like I would always make a lot of money, but it was always like fast money and like dirty money. And I would make like a lot of money during the weekends, but I would never have enough. Like I was always like just making it. And so then after that, I started working at a salon in New Hampshire, and it was kind of showed me exactly like how to not run a salon. So yeah, but it was good just learning that. And basically the same thing, like everybody just cared about their looks and not like the customers and everything. So basically like before, I always thought there was a God and like hoped there was, but I was always like doing life my own way and like trying to live on my own. So basically like I used like money and people and jobs and drugs and everything to fill like the empty space in my heart, but nothing worked. So I really just like hated my life and was miserable, and I didn't want to live anymore, and I just felt like I hit rock bottom. I was about like 20, like 21 around this time. I would think about all the times over the years where like my parents, like I would come to them with problems, and they would just like bring it back to God and like give me advice, but I would always push it away because I was hurt by religion. And like I would always take walks with Sam and stuff, and he would just like give me good advice, but I wasn't like ready to hear it yet. But like all those little seeds were planted in my heart. So then I would always like drive to the salon, and my mom gave me a Lauren Daigle CD, and I would play, and I would just like cry before work, and because I was like, the words blessed me so much, and I was like, God, like if you're real, like show me something, like give me a sign. So it was a really long day at the salon, and my mom and dad asked me to go to this, like, it was like a fellowship type thing. It was like music and then like a pastor, and I was really like resistant to go because I felt like everything that I'd been to before was like super religious or like really corny or like awkward. So I was like, I don't know if I want to go, but they were like, just come, like it'll be really cool. So I went, and there was probably like double the amount of people that are here. It was like a room this big. And I walked in and I just felt so awkward because I wasn't like used to, they were like singing and like raising their hands and just like you could see everybody like getting touched by God and I was like, ugh. So I like sat like in the back. I was kind of hiding. And it was me, my mom, my dad, AJ Fowler was there, the Barnacles, John Kelly, and Hunter. So it was really cool. It was a good group of believers there, but I was like hiding. So then like they're doing music and everything, and then this pastor guy that's like talking, well, he starts talking and then he just like points at me and I'm like over there and I was like, why are you pointing at me? And so he starts like prophesying over my life and I didn't even know like what that was at first. And I just felt so awkward, but I was like, it was just crazy because it felt like God like put a spotlight on me, but I was like trying to hide at the same time and everybody was looking and I was just like, what is happening? So, yeah, so I wrote down after I went home what he said, and so let's see. So basically, he just said, I'd never met him before, and he gave this crazy word of prophecy over my life that just changed my life and really showed me like God was real and that he'd been like hearing all the prayers that I've been praying to him. So the man said that God has given me blinders like a horse wears, and everything that used to hold me back is going to be easy to jump right over now. There is going to be amazing breakthrough to all my prayers. My passion for art and creativity are going to now be for serving God. No more stress in money because God is my sufficiency. Fear is gone. I'm going to be serving and living for him now. I'm going to be dancing and laughing like I did when I was a little girl. God is going to release new joy into my life. He has plans for my creativity and artistic ability. God sees all old things falling off me. God is bringing me to a new place. And it was just so crazy to me because he's never met me and I've never seen anything like that. I was like, how does this man, like only God could tell him these things. And that's really when God became real to me, and I just got in my car after and I just bawled my eyes out. And I'm like, God, like you hear me, this is crazy. So after I got home, I wrote it all down because Ellen Fowler, she was like, you have to write all that down. I'm like, okay. So then God just started to like restore my life and put all the broken pieces back together. And I just started to like going to God more and more. And like through my whole life, people would tell me like, you shouldn't smoke weed, you shouldn't do this. Like my mom always worried about me like working in the club. Like she would wait until I get home at like 4 a.m, like all these things. But God really, none of that like made me change. Like God really started to change the desires in my heart. And that's what made me change. So then like I started to realize that I can have a relationship with God and Jesus without going to church every Sunday. And I started to feel like complete, like I didn't, the empty void in my heart started to feel full. So like no drug or money or materialistic thing or person could ever fill that void that he did. And then, so this is when my life really started to change because after that, so basically I went to New York for my 22nd birthday, and I went to my aunt's apartment in the city, and she's like, what are you doing in New Hampshire? She's like, you need to move to New York. And I'm like, seriously, what am I doing in New Hampshire? Like, and every time I'd go to New York, I'd like fall in love with it. So she said that to me, and I just like kept hearing her voice. I'm like, what am I doing in New Hampshire? Like, I hated my job. I wanted friends that were like believers. Like, I got tired of just like going out and like saying hi to people that aren't even really like there for you when you need something. So I decided I had to get rid of my puppy. That was probably the hardest thing about it all. But I made the decision. I found him a really good home. I told my boss that I was done working for him and that I'm moving. And so I was like thinking, and I'm like, sometimes I'd be like, is this crazy? Like, I'm moving away from everything I've ever known. But then God was just telling me, he's like, you can't, like, you don't want to look back when you're like 30 and be like, why didn't I move to New York? So, wait, 1 second. Actually, I don't even think I need those.
That's all right. At least you have.
Okay, thank you. Oh wait, I do need this one. Okay. So, okay.
You want someone to like hold it down?
I'll just use my hands.
Like a phone?
No, it's okay. I got it. Thank you though.
Or a little rock?
Okay, so thanks, babe. Okay, so and it was crazy because so a month before I moved to New York, okay, so a while back, I don't know when it was, but Brendan had a dream that he, I guess, met my mom and prayed with her for our family. And so basically, Sam and my mom met Brendan before that. I don't know, maybe like a year or something? I don't know. Yeah, a couple months. So they met him before that, and my mom decided to have like a cookout in New Hampshire and have some believers from Schenectady come. That was when I was still living in New Hampshire, just so I could like make some friends that lived in New York. So my mom had a cookout in New Hampshire, and I see this guy like playing guitar on our hammock, and I'm like, who is this guy? And it was also cool because I feel like a lot of times I went to things before and like I would meet people my age, but they were just like really judgmental or I don't know. So I was like hesitant also about hanging out with them again. But so I see Brendan and we have like the same Adidas shoes on. So I go up to him and I'm like, nice shoes. And then, and so he's just playing guitar. And I felt like when I first like looked in his eyes, I could see Jesus. It was crazy. So then we just start talking and he's really nice. And so one of the first things we talk about is how he like hangs out with all these cute little kids in the hood. And I was like, no way, because I've always wanted to do like a back to school braiding thing for little kids, because like I like to do like braiding the most. And so we talked about that, and I was like, okay, well when I move there, we'll have to set something up. So that was just really cool that he had told me about that. So I met him before I moved to New York, and then I moved to New York, and I started to honor God with my money because I basically like didn't have a job either. So like I would do like side jobs and help my aunt with her business, and I just start honoring God with my money. And sometimes it would be like, okay, God, like you need to do something because I don't have money right now. But it's crazy because I left like a job working like 40 hours a week, and I work for myself now, and I don't have like a set job, but I'm making more money than ever just because I've been honoring God with my money. And he's made it so awesome because like I can do stuff like this and like travel and like be my own boss and just make my own schedule. And that's just a huge testimony in itself. So I'm just going to tell some testimonies now. So before, like when I was in New Hampshire and a couple of months after when I moved to New York, I would always have really bad pain in my elbow whenever I do art or hair. And I don't know, like tennis elbow type thing. And I went to a teen camp at the Ungerwitters, and God put it on my heart to ask my friend Abby to pray for me. And she prayed for me, and my elbow's like healed ever since. So that's really cool because God knows that I need my arm. And so then it's just really cool being like in a godly relationship because all my life I've only known like abusive relationships, like toxic friendships, like all of that. And God has just really taught me like it's so much different than anything I've ever known, just like being engaged to a godly man. And it's so nice. So last year we got engaged here. That was so cool. And then I got the chance to go to Nepal this past March, and um, that was just like life changing because like my whole entire life I would never speak in front of anybody, like so shy and like wouldn't talk to anybody. So then um, in Nepal, like there's like 10,000 people at each fellowship, and I was like, I can't come to Nepal and not share because I really did have a lot of stuff on my heart to share, but like my whole life the devil would just always tell me that like I don't have anything good to say and stuff, so I'd just be quiet. But I was like, no, like this is the time that I'm gonna break through that. So God just kept giving me ideas. He's like, you could talk about this, you could talk about this, you could talk about this. So I'm like, okay, so we're sitting at a fellowship, and my little sister, she's 13, and she was sitting next to me, and she was a little nervous too, but I knew she wanted to go up, and she has a cool testimony about how she got a ukulele. So I was like talking to her, I was like, I'll go up if you go up, and she's like, okay. So then I was still nervous, and I'm like, God, if you really want me to go up, like I love butterflies. So I was like, God, if you really want me to go up, then like show me a butterfly. And right when I thought that in my head, like a butterfly flew right across my face, and it was so cool. So me and my little sister went up, and we just shared in front of like thousands of people, and it was amazing. And it was just like God, I'd always hear people say like God will give you the words and stuff, but I really felt that like once I started talking, like he really gave me the things to say. And I could tell that like it blessed people. So another cool testimony is that like when I moved to New York, I had all these like plans for my life, like I did. And I was like, I'm gonna like live in the city, and I'm gonna do like modeling, and I'm gonna do all this, and like maybe work at another club. And but then I was like, no, like God just took me out of that. And so then I started to hang out with Brendan more and more, and then we started dating. And God like told me that I'm gonna move to Schenectady when we get married. And God also told him before that like he's gonna help his wife start a business. So yeah, so really cool thing about that is like you guys have probably heard about how he's like renovating houses and stuff. So right across from where he lives, the GCL house is this like huge 3-story build, well, not a build, it's like a house type thing, but it has a storefront, and it's like huge, and there's been pigeons living in it for 25 years, and it's just like a really ugly sight to look at on the corner. So him and his family bought that, and they're gonna rent the top floor, then the bottom floor has like an apartment on one side, and then a storefront on the other side, and the storefront used to be a pharmacy. So when they started to like get into it, Brendan and I went in the pharmacy, like the bottom floor, and we were like, okay, God, this would be a really cool hair salon and like art studio for me. And we prayed about it, but we didn't tell his dad, and we didn't want to push anything on his family because we wanted to see like what they want to do first. So we prayed about it, and we kind of just like weren't stressing about it at all. Just didn't really even like think about it too much after. And then one day we're having dinner with his family, and I'm just like telling his dad, like, he's like, so like you want to move to Schenectady? Like you don't mind living in the hood? I'm like, no, like I love it. And he's just saying like, I'm telling him like what I want to do with my career and stuff, and like I want to do art, and I want to do hair, and like Schenectady's the perfect place because I love to do like braids and stuff. So I'm just like telling him this whole thing, and his dad just kind of just silent, just thinking. He's like, okay. He's like, well, why don't you just like draw up a floor plan, and you can have your salon in the bottom floor, and you guys can live right next to it. And Brendan and I just looked at each other, and we were like, are you serious? So basically, like, we're getting to live in this like beautiful apartment. It's gonna be done probably in like, I don't know, half a year or something. But God's like letting us live in this beautiful place that we're getting to design, and I'm gonna be able to design like my own hair salon and art studio. And it's just like crazy. I never would have we prayed to God for it, but I never like thought, I don't know, it's just crazy. So where's Alyssa? I love Alyssa's shirt. I love that verse because like the whole yeah, the whole like project that's happening in Schenectady is like the Isaiah 61 project. So I love the verse. It says, "To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified." So I decided, oh, Brendan and I decided that I'm going to name my hair and art studio Crown of Beauty Studio. So, yeah. Yeah, so my life is awesome now. And I'm so happy. And okay, so I made you guys these little bookmarks. This is mine. And so basically it's a cross. And like sometimes I'll still get thoughts like from my past, like, oh, you did this, like you just thoughts from the devil. Like, so when I get those, I just like replace it with something good. And this is just like kind of a little reminder of when I get those thoughts. So basically, I'm challenging you guys to fit as many words on this as you can. So mine says, I'm creative, I'm pure, I'm loyal, I'm humble, I'm chosen, I'm bold, I'm a masterpiece, artist, free, loved, confident, focused, forgiven, a leader, a champion, called, brave, saved, understanding, a future wife, a servant of God, wealthy, righteous, dreamer, peacemaker, and a light, and a bunch of other cool stuff. So, yeah.
Can I pass?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so we have yellow ones, green, pink, purple, and blue. You want a pink one? So,
Give out the blue and pink ones.
okay, yeah. You want to give out? Brendan can give out the boy colors. I'll give out the girl colors. You want to give out the yellow?
If you
Okay.
want a boy color,
Yeah. You want to take some too? Okay, cool. Yeah, so hopefully that's a good reminder for you guys. So basically, that's all I wanted to share, and I hope the bookmarks bless you guys. So thanks for listening. Yeah.
Look how beautiful these are. She handmade these. This took a long time.
No, it did not take me 7 days.
You have such a tremendous heart, and
Thank
you just love
you.
people so much. And the more I get to know you, like, you are just. She's not just a pretty face, y'all. She is like so deep. She has such a great heart for people. She's been planning this and thinking about you and praying about you and helping. Brianna and her have been helping with the paint. Like, this woman is amazing. She is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.